Okay, all right. How's everybody doing? Okay, great. All right. So, obviously, big day for us here Wednesday, grinding through Denver. Just on the roster, we'll have two guys out for practice. Kennard will not practice today, and Ashawn will not practice today. Everybody else should be able to participate in some capacity. I'd say just grinding through the Broncos here. Definitely a team that, we don't know very well, so we got a lot of work to do from that standpoint. Obviously, Coach Fangio, we know him from his days at Chicago. Really good coach, strong defensive coach. You can see the personality of what he believes in, the toughness, being able to control the game. A lot of things very similar to us, you can see really coming through in his team. So I think his team's playing really hard right now. I think they're out competing at a high level. Obviously, quarterback change here as of late, which I think has sparked them a little bit, allowed them to have a little bit of versatility with his athleticism and continually strong on defense. So be a big challenge for us traveling out to Denver, getting ready to go. So really just grinding away, trying to learn this team to to give ourselves a chance on Sunday. So what do we got?
Question about Von Miller. If you look at his stats, they're not to the level he had his first 8 years on average. But on a given play, given game, given day, is he still what he was?
Yeah, when you watch tape, and especially obviously at home, with the crowd and everything like that, his get off is unbelievable. He does a really good job, and I think one of the things that he takes a great advantage of is the cadence, and especially that silent count with teams that are out there and kind of that play clock as it winds down. He does a great job of getting off the ball. He's got a variety of moves. You see on tape a lot of teams trying to do different things to take them away. Certainly, I think they've had some injuries on the defensive front that maybe have altered some of the things that he's seen from a protection standpoint. But tight ends, backs, tackles, everybody kind of trying to get in the way, and really he does an unbelievable job of defeating one and then getting by the second. So still a very, very dangerous player coming off the edge. Yep.
With the Matthew Stafford decision yesterday, was there anything that changed in his prognosis from the time of the initial injury to the decision? I was wondering why now as opposed to earlier with the IR decision.
Yeah, I would say nothing changed in a negative way from the initial kind of, where we were with the injury. I'm not going to get into specifics of it, but, we'd been monitoring the progress of where he was at, and certainly as competitive of a guy as he is, he wants to be out there and play. Certainly as we had markers that we were trying to check off as we went through the timeline, just felt at this time that it would be better, as the head coach felt it would be better for him to not put himself in that harm or that even minor or small chance for an injury to occur or reoccur. And then on top of that, just with our situation and the injuries that we've had on our team, certainly he's an unbelievable leader of this team and was, just understood that, hey, we might need the spot for other players that need to go out and play. So really just a collaborative conversation between he and I all the way through. And I know how much he wants to play. I know how much he wants to be out there. But really for myself, just kind of as we got towards the end of the season here, thought it'd be best to just put him on IR and, open up the roster spot going forward.
Just to clarify really quickly, you said there were markers you were following. Was there any point where he didn't hit one of those markers, or this strictly a roster spacing decision?
Yeah, I would say it's mostly roster space, really, and obviously then consulting with the doctors as we went through from that standpoint. Yep.
There were multiple reports it was a 6-week injury, and it's been like 6-7 weeks now. Was he healing slower than expected, maybe?
No, and I'm not going to get into the specifics of the medical part of it. Definitely not. But, that aspect of it, he was pushing to try to go play. And I just think, for us, where we were roster-wise, just we needed to make a move.
Last thing on Matthew, has he been throwing? Is that something he can do with the back, or is it just a matter of he can't take big hits?
He's been able to really do some things, that would be normal, I'll call it, from that aspect of it. And really the contact part of it is the part that, for me, as a coach, I've said this many times, I'll never put somebody out there where I think that there's a chance where they can't defend themselves or protect themselves. And, you don't want to be it's really hard to walk on that field, when guys are laying there and their wives are at home and their families at home and stuff like that. So if there's anything along the lines that's doubtful from that standpoint, just thought it was better not to.
Obviously, you referenced, how he's been playing of late. A, on that, and then B, what did you think of him coming out of the draft? Denver traded up in front of you guys to take him, so you looked at him late.
Yeah, we did a lot of research on him too, just, as we do with all the draft guys. I think let's just go with kind of what we've seen on film right now. that athleticism that you see, his speed, his decision making. The ball comes out really quick. He's got a good arm. He can get the ball downfield. I think they have some vertical speed that they take advantage of, especially with Fant and Sutton, to get the ball downfield. And I think on top of that, that extra element of him being able to extend plays is something that I think they've really capitalized on, and then take off and run. There's a couple plays on film, and Houston has some really fast players, and we've seen some fast guys on tape. Kansas City game's a little bit tough with the snow, from that aspect of it. Nobody's really moving incredibly fast with that, but in the Houston game, you can see him run away from some DBs and some linebackers that I know can run. So I think there's a little bit of that deceptive speed there that you have to be careful of when he gets out of the pocket. Coming out, spending time with him through the course of the draft, I thought he was a very conscientious college football player. Like, he was studying film. He was into kind of the X's and O's, was able to talk football really well. I think he's a guy that's got a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. He's a competitive guy, which you love. And I think he feels that, he's out there every single snap trying to prove something. I think he's fearless in his play. He really, he'll put the ball up and he trusts those guys to go make some plays for him, and he'll throw his body around. So, from that aspect of it, you can see that kind of maybe a little bit of that juice, that fire that he brings to that offense right now.
But you love injury questions, so one more for you. Kerryon could come off IR this week. Is there an intention to activate him?
I think Kerryon has progressed very well through the course of the week, or the course of the last couple of weeks. So we'll have another evaluation through the course of this week and see where we are. Yeah, yep.
Is Stafford, is he still going to be on the sideline, I guess, helping Coach Blau and all that extra set of eyes?
Yeah, he's been great. We were just in our walkthrough a little while ago and doing checks and adjustments and all that stuff. So he's the same guy. He's the same guy no matter what. And he's been preparing. For me, it's great too when we have those conversations and those meetings where I'll talk to the quarterbacks about the defense and the DBs that we're going to see and things like that. And he's studied. He's on his notes, and he's given that information to those guys, and certainly helping David all every step of the way. So that part of it, he's great.
And Matt, yesterday,
Danny Amendola.
I'll come back.
With Amendola, in what ways does he kind of embody what you want in terms of foundation, culture type things, and why has he been as productive as ever in terms of yards this season?
Yeah. Well, I think it's pretty easy to see Danny on the football field on game day, how tough, how hard he plays. He just continually works all 60 minutes of the game. He's definitely one of those guys that maybe, he's not necessarily sure when his number is going to be called or when the ball is going to come his way, but he's going to run everything like it's going to be his way every time. And certainly he does a lot of dirty work in the run game too. He'll go in there and he'll throw his body around and try to make some really difficult blocks in both the run and the pass game if we're asking him to do that stuff. And I think that's just the mentality that you love to have as a coach. You love those guys that just love to play the game. He's excited about playing the game. He's tough. He works hard. But like I've said before, what you see on Sunday is what you get every single day here in the building, whether it's a meeting, practice. He throws himself around. He's trying to, do everything he can to compete every single day. Sometimes I gotta protect himself from himself sometimes, because it's just, it's maybe a 7-on-7 rep and he doesn't need to lay out so hard, but he doesn't care. He just wants to go play ball and he wants to compete. So I think that's why you see that constant, production, that constant sort of play style show up on Sundays. And certainly from that aspect of it, I think he just tries to capitalize on every opportunity that he has. Yeah, go ahead.
Just yesterday with the news that you get that they're coming back, all of Detroit continues to react. What's your message to Lions fan as to why maybe next year is going to be a lot better than the first 2 years here?
I think we'll probably talk next year after we get done with this season, from that aspect of it, and kind of recap where we are. Pretty focused on Denver right now. I'm certainly, I appreciate Mrs. Ford and the Ford family, but when I came here to try to do a job to the best of my ability, and I'm glad that we just keep trying to do that. I think that's what we're trying to do every single day here, is to build something that is competitive, and something a team that's going to go out and fight and work hard and do all those things that we have visioned for the team. And obviously, we need to go out and win some games, which would be great. So from that aspect of it, nothing's really changed for me from that standpoint. I work extremely hard no matter what. I'm coming in because of the players that are in that locker room and what I feel that, I owe them as a head coach, and how I need to prepare so I can help them, give them a chance to go win. That's what I do every day. And, that's what we're trying to do today with the Broncos.
With Jared out for the season, you're leaning on Jelani a little bit heavier. Obviously with experience, any young player improves rapidly. I wondered from the time he's gotten here to now, where have you seen the biggest area of growth in his game?
Yeah, it's a good question, I think, because, if you think about back to the beginning part of the year, he got kind of thrown into the action pretty early too. And I think he did a really good job of handling that, that responsibility early in the season. I think his, maybe, I don't want to say demeanor, but just kind of his presence maybe is a little bit more mature than what it was to start the season now that he's back in front of the huddle with that sort of responsibility. I think his confidence is probably a better way to put it. His confidence in knowing what the calls are, knowing what the responsibilities are, getting that communicated to the rest of the defense, handling the adjustments and the changes. It's certainly through playing, the course of a season, that kind of experience that goes along with that. I think he's handled that really well. The biggest thing for me with him is just, he's been consistent since day one. He's been the same person every day in the building, which has allowed us to kind of build on him as a player, build on him as understanding what we're trying to do defensively and his knowledge of the NFL, because he comes in, he absorbs whatever he learns the day before, and the next day he's, ready to learn more on top of that. So that's the part of it for us that's been really positive with that, and why you can put him out in front of the defense to make those calls.
You got the news yesterday. Did you feel like a sense of relief and then business as usual?
Yeah. Honestly, I'm just kind of, I'm the same. It's the same every day for me. I'm coming to work and just trying to, grind it out the best I can. I have a lot of conversations with Mrs. Ford and her family. So for me, yesterday was certainly, we did our normal kind of routine and conversation piece, and then it was getting ready to figure out Denver. They got a really good team. So that was it. Okay. All right, appreciate it.